Welcome to the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout here at CIOE 97.5 FM. I'm your host, Maurice O'Coin, and we are streaming live to the world at www.communityradio.ca. We are going to discuss and celebrate independent artists' music from all over the Atlantic region and beyond. Let's all get on the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout right now.
Just a man standing in a spotlight, trying to stay strong, trying to hold on. I open my eyes to things that I've disguised, things I thought I knew were only things that are just lies. They were times I got down on my knees, looking for my faith, running far away from me. They were nights, nights I could not sleep, nights I feel the demons running deep inside of me. I'll be your hero. Can't lie, God knows I've tried. Hide my fears, hide these tears of feeling just so tired. But there's a light that'll shine so bright. Hold your head in my hand, I can guide you in the night. There were times I got down on my knees, there were times I thought I couldn't breathe, many times that I thought I couldn't see. Looking at you straight, then me get up off my knees, holding on alive like it's just a shattered dream. I've been listening to my heart, I know what family means. I will hold you in my arms, I will guide you to your dreams. I will never let you fall. I'll be your hero.
You've just heard The Light I Need, a great song by Mark Fahie, and we got him right here online now. So Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good. That song is great. We've had that on the show before. I'm glad that you had a chance to talk to us about it. You got a lot of stuff recorded in that time, and that's one of the first songs that's coming out of an album that's appearing?
Yeah, we're doing one at a time and just kind of, getting our bearings there and see what the see what catches, what doesn't. So
That song did quite well. Why don't you fill us in on who worked with you on it?
yeah, so I originally recorded some guitars on that. I had a melody kind of in my mind, what I wanted, and I put a little beat to it, and then I reached out to our lead guitarist in the band I play with, Neil Bishop, he's quite known for his work in Newfoundland, and he laid all the lead guitar, electric guitar tracks on there. And it was funny, one day I was just on one of their online sites and Cakewalk, and I said, anybody interested in laying a piano track on a new song I'm working with? And I ended up getting a message back from a guy that goes by the name of Mimo Japan. He's actually lives in Japan, but he's from Germany, and I didn't realize what a virtual instrument player this guy was. And next thing I know is the tracks that were coming back, I just let him actually take over mixing. And
so you didn't actually know he was in Japan when you reached out to him? It was just a random name online sort of thing?
Exactly.
Isn't that awesome, though? Now it's a fully international experience now.
Oh, it was cool, like working with people kind of all over the place, like just all remote. It was absolutely amazing. Got to meet new people, new musicians, and we just kept going from there. And it just kept building and building. And it kind of, I was shooting a little bit for this kind of 90s Bon Jovi ballad kind of song, and I wasn't too sure what I was going to expect from it, but wow, it exceeded my expectations.
That's fantastic. And the thing that's cool about it is that this gentleman, you don't know him, you never met him before the project. And the way you're doing this, every time you put out a different song, you reach out. Next thing you know, you're going to look back on this project and go, wow, I met 30 people doing this. I think that's a brilliant way to develop your village.
I think it's great, especially if you sometimes get stuck on something. You're like, where do I go from here? You know where you want the song to go, but you just can't do it. And then when other musicians and their ideas get involved with you, it just escalates big time.
You might have a great idea, like you say, you hit the wall, and then somebody has a skill, and they take it to a direction you never even envisioned, and it's like, wow, I could never have thought of that, and you love it. How many songs do you plan on putting on the project?
Well, we have this one here, the next one that I'm working with, Minnie Grimace. That's artist name. His actual name is Chris Marriott. And then there's two more that we're working on there.
So there's going to be 3 songs with Minnie Grimace?
I think so. Possibly more, because
awesome.
we work great together. Like the music's come together nicely. It's got a great vibe to it. So I'm liking where it's going. Your
workflow with them is quite nice. We were discussing it before we started this interview. And it's nice how you guys found both of your strengths, and he takes one aspect of the song and you do the other one, and it comes out the way it's coming out. We're going to play the new one, Eyes Wide Open, shortly. But even in watching the video, it's neat having a different genre of music blending with yours, and it kind of creates a whole new sound.
Oh, exactly. And that's what I did. I just reached out. I knew he's from down my way, down Sambro, where I grew up. And I knew he was a really, really good hip-hop artist. And I said, you know what, just one day I said, I'm just going to shoot him a message on Messenger and said, what do you think about taking a collaboration with my rock style and your hip-hop style and see what we could, come up with, see if it'll actually work. And he just said, hey, what do you have in mind? I said, well, I'll go down to my studio and I'll record a acoustic guitar track and I'll send it to you. And you see if you can come up with a vocal and put one of your beats on it. And 2 days later, I got it back, and I was like, wow. And then I listened to the lyrics, and he told me, he said, I wrote this song about depression. And I'm like, oh, man. I said, this hits home with so many people. And I'm really big on lyrics in a song. Like the last song, Light I Need, I wrote about experience when we almost lost our daughter when she was younger with a rare medical condition. So lyrics mean a lot to me. So when he sent that to me and I listened to it, it just got you right in the feels.
Well, you know what? I can't wait to listen to it. But before we go and listen to the track, what do you got coming up in the next few months?
Actually, Minnie Grimace just sent me a vocal track tonight for a song I just did a backing track on. It's going to be called The Weekend.
Oh, we'll watch for that one.
Oh, yeah, it's a kind of a modern kind of, it's just a little more groovy. It's got a good vibe to it. And then there's a couple other ones I'm kind of working. I'm trying to stick to one at a time so I don't get, all over the road here. But
You're going to have a release every few months now, from now till whenever?
I'd love to have one every 2 weeks if I could.
Yeah, wouldn't we all? Absolutely. Well, man, I'll tell you, that's great catching up with you, Mark. Good luck
Yeah,
with the
you
next
too.
tunes coming out, and I can't wait to hear the next one. So we're going to listen to Eyes Wide Open here at the Atlantic Indie Roundabout, and we'll chat soon.
This song is dedicated to anyone living with depression. It's hard, but we gotta keep on pushing. And to anyone who knows someone suffering with depression, keep your eyes wide open. Like a monster's at my front door. Y'all don't wanna see the things I'm seeing, and I tried hard just to ignore, but these demons just keep on creeping. Don't ask me what I want more, to wake up or to keep on dreaming. In hell, but my heart's still freezing. Please tell me why my soul's still bleeding. I sleep with my eyes wide open. Nobody can tell me not to cry. I sleep with my eyes wide open, just in case I'm about to die. I sleep with my eyes wide open. Nobody can tell me not to cry. I sleep with my eyes wide open, just in case I'm about to die. Life's hard, I can feel myself slip. Each bridge that I burned, I caused it. I got a lot of skeletons in my closet. My mind, I lost it. I turned toxic, and y'all just stood there and watched it unfold. And that's how I feel, regardless of what I'm told. And I'll say I don't need a hand, but understand I don't got a plan. I sleep with my eyes wide open. Nobody can tell me not to cry. I sleep with my eyes wide open, just in case I'm about to die. I sleep with my eyes wide open. Nobody can tell me not to cry. I sleep with my eyes wide open, just in case I'm about to die. Just try to put yourself in my shoes. If you felt how I feel, what would you do? So always help those who might lose, because that's what you would want if that was you. If that was you. If that was I sleep with my eyes wide open. I sleep with my eyes wide open. I sleep with my eyes wide open. I sleep with my eyes wide open.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the Atlantic Indie Roundabout with me, your host, Maurice O'Coin.
Gonna take a quick vacation. Maybe get back to the place where my heart wants me to be. Don't know who I'm taking, but if you wanna split the gas, then I guess you can come along with me. Gonna get my head together, maybe find myself some breathing room. It's a long way down the St. John River. It's a long way to drive all alone. get back and see the old folks. Maybe take a drive around and try and get back to my roots. We'll start out on the boardwalk, and if there's a dance, then I'll go put on my old cowboy boots. Gonna take a sip of whiskey, watch the fog roll in, and maybe have a shot of Donnie's rum. Maybe even for a couple nights I'll forget exactly what it is that I am running from. My troubles, they won't find me. Didn't leave no Ford in address. It's a long way down the St. John River. It's a long way to drive all alone. But there's a full moon over Holy Mountain, and I'm still coming home. Gonna get my head together, gonna find myself some breathing room. It's a long way down the St. John River. It's a long way to drive all alone. But there's a full moon over Holy Mountain, and I'm still coming home. I'm still coming home. I'm still coming home.
That was St. John River by Tom Bedell, and I got to say, that was a lot of fun being part of that process, actually. That was a great song. How long ago did you write that song, Tom?
That wasn't too long ago. I think that was just even before everything shut down here in the early part of 2020. I think it was right around Christmas. Like it seems like every winter, that's when I start to kind of think, yeah, I should start to put some of these songs together. You know, I may have an idea here and there, and that one came together early part of 2020, I think.
Cool. So I guess we all kind of got industrious during the pandemic when we were sent home and doing stuff. I mean, you still had a job. You were essential service. I mean, a man on the air. I got to say, I've always been a fan of you because obviously you've had the radio show and you're on national broadcasting, and so your voice is heard across the region. Your Route 104 show. That's a show that basically that's the 1 hour a week musicians hope to be part of.
It's all over the Maritimes now too. Like we go at the Q stations in St. John and Moncton and Pictou County, and the world domination, the quest for world domination continues.
Absolutely. But you know, the thing is, I admire most about what you do is that, like, you've been in broadcasting for many years. I mean, your name is a household word as a DJ at the station, over 20 years or 25 years probably. You're still like me and like other musicians. You're a fledgling musician on your own, and you probably have to elbow your way in just to get one of your songs on your own show.
Yeah, I haven't really gone down that road yet. I think that's kind of a dangerous road for me because it's going to be the Tom Bedell hour.
Well, you know what? I mean, Mike, maybe you would have lots of fans that would cheer you on if you did that, But I think my point, why I brought this up, is that a lot of people don't realize that you are a songwriter, and you do a lot of gigs. You play with Doug Harrison. You have a duo. You do a lot of this a lot. And you've been producing songs like St. John River, for example. I had a pleasure recording that with you. You got your posse together. Joe Breen did some nice mixing and some bass playing, and you got all the connections because of your radio domination, as you call it. But it's wonderful to see you coming out of your own as a musical songwriter, and your songs are great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really appreciate that. That's really, and I really have to thank you for that too, because it gave me kind of the the boot that I needed to kind of get into an actual studio, and to actually get into a studio
Well,
and see how that is done. Like, that's a real, that's a whole different animal, right?
the discipline that's required
Yeah.
to record a song and staying on a grid, and so you can build it up, and and that's a lot of guys don't have that skill set, and a lot of guys have to develop it. You seem quite adapt to it. You're not really out of your element. I mean, the radio station is a studio. You've produced some wonderful music just with the interviews of your own show. I mean, some of the best music that I've ever heard come out of that station was in front of a microphone across the desk.
Yeah, that's where you get the real, you get the real basics, you get the real fundamentals, without the bells and whistles kicking in, and to just hear like the seeds of the song, like just the riff, the raw vocals. That's what it's all about for me, is just seeing the genesis of where this stuff comes from, and that's what we try to get across on Route 104.
Absolutely, and it must really influence your craft as a songwriter.
Well, yeah, you can see where you can see everything just torn right down to the nails, right down to the just the idea of where it came from. Like, I remember a few years ago we had one of the great East Coast bands, Hey Rosetta, came in. And there's only like 10 people in the band, and they all
huge,
crowded in here around like 3 microphones. I had no idea how this was going to work, but it all sounded great. Like, it just, even in front of 3 microphones, they had a cello player, mandolin, 2 guitar players. They had somebody playing the xylophone. It somehow it all, I talk about the songs being torn right down to the studs, but to also see it in the hands of somebody who can make magic like that and bring it to life, it's just, to get both sides of it like that is just such a huge thrill.
It must pinch yourself sometimes going, here I am, I want to be a songwriter, I want to do my own thing. I'm having the world-class musicians coming in and stripping their songs. It's like they're getting naked in front of you. And
yeah,
and that's
literally, that's not happened yet, though.
No.
Thankfully. Yeah, that's not
Well, what's just going to be a bit of a segue into this next song we're going to feature here. This isn't really a song that's been released. It's basically another one of those stripped down naked songs. And when did you and Lisa Burke get together on this song, 3 Sheets?
Yeah, it was over the summer. We were this just song that came to me. I was just having a blues jam with some friends of mine, and I just started kind of scatting some lyrics over to it, just kind of nonsense lyrics. And I like that you told me once, you told me twice,
That's
kind
awesome.
of thing, and you just kind of build it around that. And I thought, this would be kind of a good classic, blues tune. It would be a really nice classic, 12-bar kind of 4 on the floor kind of thing, and it seemed natural to do as a duet. I really like duets. I really like boy-girl duets. I've never actually written one before, and this one just seemed that I think this would work. And Lisa, I gave Lisa a little demo of it. She immediately was on board with that, and we just got it together over the summer. She's in PEI, and she came back here for a couple of shows to Halifax, and we just set up the mics and kind of went from there. It took a while to actually get everything pieced together, but still, I like the way it turned out.
I mean, it's stripped down. It's beautiful. It sounds like a song that's probably been around for 50 or 75 years. I can't wait for us to listen to it. We're going to listen to it in just a second. Before I do, though, Tom, I'd like to say thanks. You inspire me on this show, and anybody in the East Coast music industry knows you personally from that show. It's nice to see that you're working just as hard as we are, trying to promote your own music, even with all the tools that you have at your disposal. I think it's wonderful.
Well, thanks, Mo. It's really you've always been an inspiration for me, and I think one of the first times I actually got on stage was one of your
open mics.
Fuck, the seed was planted.
I love planting seeds.
Nice talking to you, man.
Okay, have a great afternoon.
You told me once, you told me twice, that I've never been one for advice. So now you're leaving, and I'm 3 sheets to the wind.
I told you once, I told you twice, but you had to go and roll the dice. So yeah, I'm leaving, 'cause you're 3 sheets to the wind. All this time, baby, you and me had an arrangement. We we'd finally do some settling down.
All of a sudden you're questioning our engagement.
'Cause you can't stop your catting around.
You told me once, you told me twice, and you weren't even trying to be nice. So now that tears it, and I'm 3 sheets to the wind.
Couple of shots of this and that had your alibi down pat. Pretty sure that you were in the clear.
Yeah, well, now that I can't find my keys, I'm begging you, oh baby, please, it's starting to get cold out here. You told me once, you told me twice, and I was already on thin ice. So now it's broken, I'm 3 sheets to the wind.
I told you once, I told you twice, baby, it's been a slice. And yeah, I'm leaving, 'cause you're 3 sheets to the wind. Oh yeah, I'm leaving, 'cause you're 3 sheets to the wind.
You are listening to the Atlantic Indie Roundabout with me, your host, Maurice O'Coin.
Drop them off, and the bastards can sort it out. Unboxing rock and it's up, up. The tide knows no slack. Talk it out or sock it out before we come back. A vision shift the scene, just off a shell. Burn the waters were mean. A tough lesson to learn. Captain knew a tale of a legend round here. Apparently written on the side of a beer. Where they drop, let's drop them off. The bastards get sorted out. Unboxing rock and it's up, up. The tide knows no slack. Talk it out or sock it out before we come back. Mentioned a spot where sailors would go. Disputes became bouts when they came to blows. Waters unveil, a plateau appears. Differences were settled when fists all reveal. And we'll drop, let's drop them off. The bastards get sorted out. Unboxing rock and it's up, up. The tide knows no slack. Talk it out or sock it out before we come back. A guy's wife and buddy were sleeping around. Deckhead punch skipper and he fell to the ground. Captain sick crew, you know this ain't right. You gotta be answered to boxing rock tonight. And we'll drop, let's drop them off. And the bastards can sort it out. Unboxing rock and it's up, up. The tide knows no slack. Talk it out or sock it out before we come back. What will we do? What will we do? We picking up one or we're picking up two? What will we do? What will we do? toast of beer, the boys are all back, yeah, we drop them off, and the bastards done sorted out, unboxing rock, and it's up, tide knows no slack, talk it out or sock it out before we come back, talk it out or sock it out before we come back.
You've just heard The Boxing Rock, and that's a song featured Callehan with Tony Trimper and also Brian Doucette, and I have him here on the line. And how you doing, Tone? I guess you're a little under the weather today?
Oh, yeah, but hey, you got to get cold now and again, right? It's not the end of the world, so I won't sing for you. Yes, you are.
Let's talk about The Boxing Rock. How did you come up with that idea?
So I love the idea of historic songs, and we don't know sometimes if something is historic or it's folklore or somewhere in between. And I love supporting small businesses, and a lot of small businesses in our province love supporting local music. So I love the story of the Boxing Rock. It's a brewery down off Shelburne that came up with their name because the rock that's in their harbor, where basically you only see it when the tide is out. When the tide's in, it's covered up. And they say back in the day, captains would drop off bickering sailors to talk it out or box it out before the tide came back up. They'd be picking up one or picking up two. So asked Boxing Rock about writing this song, and they're like, sure. And then with Brian Doucette, who's a great friend and a great songwriter, we wrote this song together, and he's featured on the song with us, as you say, with Callehan. We recorded it in Shelburne with Alex Buchanan, and Boxing Rock paid to have it done. So it's great, like, cross promotion, and
fantastic.
It keeps some of the folklore and the history of Nova Scotia alive.
It's a good story. You had fun shooting the video. I love the line in the song, apparently from a story I read on the side of a beer. It harkens the 50 Mission Cap, but the Tragically Hip, how they got the whole story from a hockey card.
Yeah, exactly.
It's folklore, but it has a modern twist to it, and I thought that's just crafty songwriting all the way around, Tony.
Well, it's like the captain of today doing what they did back in the day and dropping off sailors today on the rock. And a lot of the world's problems could be solved if we just went back to the Boxing Rock.
Yeah, every harbor should probably have one, perhaps. So you've collaborated with Brian on a few different things, I do believe. Yeah. You've written more than one song with him as well.
We have, and there's some that'll be on my solo project. There's actually two, including that one that will be on the new upcoming Callehan album, including one that has to do with the Titanic. And basically the Halifax Titanic Society got behind us in doing that one too. So we're excited for when that rolls out. The band played on. We were standing at the grave of one of the musicians of the Titanic with the Titanic Society, and gave us the idea to write about these men who played music for the rest of their lives as the ship's going down, just doing what they loved and trying to bring some hope to others. Mark Kosh of Shoebox Studios is well in control of that one.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to that one. I've heard you play it live. It's a great song. You really know the angles, and you're a marketing genius. I got to give you that for sure.
As you push and promote others, it comes back around too, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, and there's so many niches out there outside of music even, I think, that we can all reach out to, and I love history. So for me, that's part of it. And history and drinking music kind of go hand in hand. So I think we can all just kind of look at different angles and think outside the box, and not just the same grants or places musicians go to do things, but just try to find collaborations that are always win-win.
Well, you just certainly stood outside the Boxing Rock. Anyway, before we get on to the new song, which we'll talk about that in a minute, I'm a shameless little plug here for a gig that we've all got coming up in Glace Bay soon during Nova Scotia Music Week. Actually, we're doing a no case just outside a town in Glace Bay, and I'm very happy to be on board with you on that, and Brian Doucette and a host of other people. What we were discussing, Tony, where they're so messed up from the hurricane. With a no-cover event anyway, I think we're going to turn into a fundraiser to raise money for the Red Cross Glace Bay Hurricane Fund.
So good.
That's going to be... So now we're serving two purposes. We're serving our own egos, and we're helping out the people of the town who simply have been wiped out. Yeah, perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for getting me involved in that, actually.
Did I? That I did?
We all came up with it together, I guess, as a group. Anyway, but that's our village, Tony. That's our village right there.
Right.
We do it for ourselves, and we do it for everybody else. We have a vibrant little music village, and we'll be putting it on full display in November. Let's talk about the new song, Canada's Pirate Queen. Now,
I'm excited about this one. I'm so pumped about the music video.
Let's talk about the technical side, okay? The recording and the video that you produced. Who's involved?
Well, a lot of people, and it's so cool. Like, so much of it I was able to not even be involved with, like, and it is letting go sometimes, because if you let go of certain things, you can have other people who have stronger skill sets in other areas pick up the baton. Tracy McNeil came up with the whole storyboard and what the video is going to be about, and Christoph Hewer with K Fox Creations made it happen. The recording was, again, Mark Kosh at Shoebox Studios, and Melissa Now had a lot to do with it. The Pirates of Halifax are in it, and of course Wendy Martin as Canada's Pirate Queen, and I'm probably leaving some people out. Rob Trescott had lots to do with it, so it's so cool. The video is well done. It's a great story. Another folklore / historic event, because these pirates never got caught. A woman, Maria Lindsay Cobham, was a captain of the pirate ship that was off Cape Breton, PEI, Newfoundland in the 1700s, and her and her husband and the crew, they never got caught, so they retired rich in France. But on her husband's deathbed, he had a priest come to tell him everything that happened. If he wrote it in the book, their 3 snotty brat kids were horrified their parents were pirates and tried to burn them all, but there's one book that still exists in a Paris museum today. So again, off our shores, they say, they being the historians, are not sure if it was real because these people never got caught. And so it's a cool story, and especially a woman in a time when women's rights meant nothing, who actually rose up and became captain of a pirate ship. Not a great role model, perhaps, or had men thrown in gunny sacks, thrown overboard, used as target practice, and they were ruthless, because if they caught a ship, they made sure everyone died, because dead men tell no tales. And we've heard that many times in pirate folklore, but hey, that's how it worked.
Wow. Man, you come up with the stories. How'd you find out about the story?
Tracy McNeil sent me an article about it that you can look up so much online.
Oh, I will, yeah.
Information that's out there, and about this Pirate Queen, because I've always loved pirates, and it goes along with Callehan's drinking music and Celtic-ish side. So we wanted to do a pirate song, and other songs of ours kind of touch on pirate themes, but this was a song that had to be sung, and there's so many historic songs out there that still haven't been written yet, because we need our stories to stay alive. We've lost something with Stan Rogers way back at that time, you know.
He definitely did lead the charge in that. Like, I mean, there will always be storyteller songwriters, and you don't always know if they're true, and that's not the point of these stories. But whether they're true or not, they tell good stories, and I'm fascinated, and I really enjoy the work of songwriter storytellers. I'm glad you're carrying the torch there.
There's a quote: "Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story."
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. So before we check out Canada's Pirate Queen, what else can we expect from the upcoming album?
So from Callehan, it's going to be in vinyl. And one side is going to be seaside, songs about the sea like these. The other side is going to be fireside. Imagine being around a campfire. We want Callehan, our band, is basically that idea, like bringing the fun to things and being right there. We're not a big rock band, never will be, but we want to be imagining just being around the campfire with everyone who's there, enjoying our music and enjoying it with them. So we can't wait to get the vinyl album out, and there's a lot of fun songs on there, and just look forward to inviting everyone to the campfire.
Tony, I hope you do save a copy for me. I do have I have a few LPs in my collection too. I know you're an LP collector as well. Well, it sounds like you're doing really well. Just get rid of this cold, and we'll talk to you again soon. And we're going to check out Canada's Pirate Queen here at the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout.
The terror north Atlantic Sea. Whoa, ho, ho, whoa, ho, ho, she's Canada's pirate queen. She's found in a tavern selling booze and herself, a
pirate's life, but poor Lindsay's way out. Eric fell for her, she hopped on board. Crewmen's questions could be answered with sword. By 1730, most pirates were caught. A cunning woman would ensure that they're not. A whole crew lost, a common hazardous sail. The Callehan's lived the phrase that did men tell no tales. What path do you take when there's no path to go? You drown or drown others, just stay afloat. Your ship comes on in, but it may not look so. Your chances to take it and captain that boat. Whoa, 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 the terror North Atlantic Sea. Whoa, 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 she's Canada's pirate queen. A new world bounty left old world behind. Up West Cape Breton, ambushed with lies. Distressed vessels made easy targets. Ruthless wreckers, opportunist pirates. Some gunny sacks held some captive men. Thrown overboard with no chance to swim. Somehow she smiled as they splashed in the waves. Redeemed her past with each sin sinking to its grave. What path do you take when there's no path to go? You drown or drown others, just stay afloat. Your ship comes on in, but it may not look so. Your chances to take it and captain that boat. Whoa, 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 the terror of North Atlantic Sea. Whoa, 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 she's Canada's pirate queen. Atlantic Sea. Whoa, 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 she's Canada's pirate queen. Whoa, 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 she died aristocracy. Whoa, 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 she's Canada's pirate queen. She's Canada's pirate queen.
If you like pirates, they are.
You are listening to the Atlantic Indie Roundabout with me, your host, Maurice O'Coin.
I'd like to tell you a little story about this shirt I'm wearing. A while back, I walked into the kitchen and found my little girl sitting on the floor, surrounded by candy wrappers. She'd taken them out of their hiding place and was eating them one by one and singing to herself. As she turned and saw me, she thought she was in big trouble. So she rushed into my arms, gave me a big hug, and said, "I'm sorry, Daddy. You mad at me?" I looked down at that big, beautiful chocolate face and said, "Of course not. I love you, baby." She smiled and put her arms around my neck. And I got chocolate kisses, sugar cookie smiles, stains on the collar of my shirt, reminders of the love that a child is full of before their hearts are broken and all their feelings hurt. Jello on my shoulder is the perfect shade of green. The day that we picked berries, it's still on my sleeve. There is nothing sweeter in this whole wide world. Chocolate kisses from my girl. shirt's been around, washed 100 times, but those stains never fade away. They're like little reminders of all the daddy-daughter moments in my life. One day when I wear it, people say, you know, he could have wore a cleaner shirt. I'll tell these stories one more time. About those chocolate kisses, sugar cookie smiles, stains on the collar of my shirt, reminders of the love that a child is full of before their hearts are broken and all their feelings hurt. Jello on my shoulder is the perfect shade of green. The day that we pick berries is still written on my sleeve. There is nothing sweeter in this whole wide world than chocolate kisses from my girl. And I trade all the riches in this whole wide world for chocolate kisses from my girl.
That was Chocolate Kisses by George Wolfe, and we got him on the line here in your recording session in Wolfville, is it?
Yeah, I'm just up at Corey Bayer's place here in Wolfville, Nova Scotia.
Right on. And what brought you there?
Well, you know, I'm working on the next Lone Wolf album. I got pretty much everything done. I've got a few little bits and pieces to throw in. Shirley Jackson's going to put a saxophone on one song, and just a few little background vocals and things like that. But basically, it's mostly done and ready to start mixing.
Wow, that's so you've been working hard. How do you do that and do a day job at the same time? I shouldn't even tell people you have a day job. A lot of people think you're a rock star, and but you're a working man, and I don't know how you have the energy to do that. I'm impressed, and I'm a fan.
Well, it's what you have to do is you have to get organized, and you have to say, okay, I've got 4 hours to get this and this and this done, and you get all your ducks in a row, and you make sure that everybody's on the same page, and it works out really well, actually. In fact, today I thought I would only get the lead vocals done on the record, and I ended up getting a bunch of background vocals done as well. And Graham House came in and played some Hammond organ on a couple songs, and it's just blazing amazing.
Well, all of the music that I've heard that you've recorded already, one of your talents is not just a musician. You're a fabulous musician in your own right. And like I say, that's why I'm kind of making the joke about how you can do a day job and play at that level. But you surround yourself with the best, and you get right to business. And how many songs are you putting on the album?
It's going to be 9 or 10, depending on whether or not Dolly Parton lets me record one of them.
Oh, that's cool. Right on. Well, I'm sure she's a nice person.
It's funny you say that about surrounding yourself with better people, because I've always considered that the best way to improve as a musician is to always play with guys that are better than you. And I've been really, really fortunate in meeting some great people, and
at the right time, I guess too. We discussed this before, and like you spent many years like not living here. So you're from here originally, but then moved east.
Yeah, I grew up in Antigonish, graduated from East Pictou Rural High, and immediately within 4 days moved to Toronto. Lived in Toronto till '93, and then I was playing full time out there. Played with a bunch of blues guys, rockabilly guys, and then I met up with a guy named Brent Lee in Toronto who was from Vancouver, and he said, "Do you want to move to Vancouver?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So me and my wife picked up and moved to Vancouver. We didn't last long, but I lasted 8 years with Brent Lee, and then I ended up spending 24 years in BC. But I always had the thought in the back of my head that, when I retire, I'm going to move back to Nova Scotia. And then I met a girl that said, why wait? Let's go there now. So we did. We came back in January of 2019, and I'll never live anywhere else again. This is my home. It's where I belong.
That's great to meet somebody that's willing to do that and, follow your dreams. I'm sure that in every town, you've been in every town, you obviously, you found the way to get to the best musicians. Your albums that you recorded out west are terrific. That song, I just come to realize that Chocolate Kisses isn't a recent song.
Chocolate Kisses was recorded in the basement of the garage of Ron Briggs' studio. Ron Briggs is a really well-known drummer in BC, played with the Cruzeros, played with Farmer's Daughter, a lot of really well-known BC acts, played with Aaron Burchett. So we recorded that in his garage, and I had some really great musicians again sit in on that too. I was really fortunate to know people that knew what they were doing. And then, and that song was actually written about my youngest daughter, Taylor. The funny part was I was playing a fair up in Prince George, BC, and I had taken my kids with me on a road trip to come hang out at this. It was like an exhibition race, basically. And they called me into the radio station and to do an interview and said, "So tell us about Chocolate Kisses." And I said, "What do you mean? How do you guys know about that song?" And they said, "Well, we found it on your webpage, so we've been playing it for a month." And I ran back to the hotel and woke my kids up and said, "They're playing Chocolate Kisses on the radio."
There you go.
But that song's been around for a while, but it was actually written when my daughter was young, and now she's 24.
It kind of found its way through the station here too. You brought it in, I guess, to play, and next thing you know, it's a new release, and now it's going to go on Martin Hickey's top 30. That's cool.
Yeah, it had never been played out here. It had never been released out here, so I figured, why not?
That's a great idea, though. We're going to get a chance to listen to something new perhaps tonight. So your new album, obviously, it's still in production, but is there any chance that you can give us a little something that would be an acoustic teaser or something like that?
Yeah, well, I've got a song here called A Bottle, a Bible, and the Blues.
Ooh, what a great title.
It's kind of my tribute to the Hank Sr. style of songwriting.
Beautiful.
Which is hurting, crying, lonely.
Did you write all these songs on the album?
Everything's original. Everything is it's 100% George Wolfe right there. So.
Right on. Well, that's a great title. I'm intrigued already. CIOE plays a lot of George Wolfe. And
I can't tell you how much I appreciate the support you guys give to the local music community and to me. And like I said, it's something that I'm really getting used to because it never happened when I lived out west. Local support was thin, if non-existent, and here it just seems like everybody they wrap their arms around you and support you and lift you up, and I really appreciate it.
You're not the first person that said that on my show even. I've done shows with people from around the world, essentially, and they all say that when they come here, they cannot believe the sense of village that we have. We're all in it together, and it never gets old for us. Anybody to hear a song on the radio, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you're Bryan Adams, don't tell me you don't stop and listen when you hear your song on the radio, even after all these years. It never really gets old.
Oh man, I remember the first time I heard Heart Like a Hurricane on the radio.
Yeah.
I literally pulled over and I was pounding on the dash.
We all do that. We all have that. We sit there and we giggle and we think to ourselves, like, wow, I can't believe it made the radio. It doesn't matter what station it is or, whatever point in your career is. It's a cool thing. And that's why I took this gig. I wanted to share it with my friends. I want everybody else to have as much of a buzz hearing their tune on the radio as I am. That's one of the reasons why I admire Tom Bedell so much. He's the host of a radio show at a major station, and he's just trying to do it like everybody else, and he can barely get his own songs on the radio. His songs are played more on CIOE than they are there on Route 104. He can't even put them on his own show. So it's we're blessed, and I'm blessed to have this show, and I'm blessed to have friends like you that we're all everybody that comes down here. Justin Mackey, he said the same thing. I mean, Dennis DeVillibus when he was here. I mean, so many people that come from Woody Woodburn. It goes on and on and on. Even online, people online are literally, like, when we were live streaming, they say, "Man, what an audience you got down there." And then people start privately messaging them like, "Hey, I saw your show, and a friend of mine," and we really are supportive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, George, I can't wait any longer. What's the title there? The title is just great. You say it so I don't screw it up.
Yeah. It's called A Bottle, a Bible, and the Blues.
What a spectacular name for a song. I can't wait to hear this. So, folks, this is going to be an acoustic version of the future album track. It's a pleasure and honor that you get us a chance to give it a quick early listen to. So we hope everybody enjoys it. Hope you all enjoyed this episode. And, George, like I say every week, from our village to yours, take care and good night.
In a musty old motel room out on Highway 92, there's a man who sits there crying 'cause he don't know what to do. For his true love found another, and she broke his heart in two. Now all he has is a bottle and the blues. He remembers how his mama read the Bible every night. He remembers how his daddy died in a barroom fight. And that old guitar has always helped to sing the blues away. And he tries to ease the broken heart, but the music just won't play. Only one road leads to heaven, but it's so hard to choose when all you have is a bottle and the blues. He remembers how his mama read the Bible every night. He remembers how his daddy died in a barroom fight. And that old guitar has always helped to sing the blues away. And it tries to ease his broken heart, but the music just won't play. Only one road leads to heaven, but it's so hard to choose when all you have is a bottle and the blues. When all you have is a bottle and